And as I was on a walk, I found myself, I'm deeply grateful for trees. You know, trees are grounded in the earth and reach toward heaven. They are these transition wonderful. And I found myself thinking about the planet's respiration cycle. That briefly put, scientists, you know, don't, I know the complexities of it, but we could say briefly that plants breathe out oxygen, which we breathe in, and we respire, we breathe out the carbon dioxide they need. And so it's this breathing together. We are the planet breathing together, and we don't have that air without each other. And so I got to thinking about this exchange of God's breath. In Hebrew, and this is where I get worried I'm straying far from, I guess I had a very interdisciplinary education at Candler, but in Hebrew, the term ruach, which we often translate as spirit, is also used for breath, for air, for atmosphere, for wind. Ted Hebert, who has taught me so much on this and is a fine biblical ecological hermeneuticist, has done some really good work on this. And this is what he reminds me. That air is not regarded as a material element of the natural world, which is a created substance, is empty of divinity. On the contrary, air is both atmospheric winds and breath, is described in the Hebrew Scriptures as having a divine character. The second verse of the book of Genesis, I'm figuring you can read faster than I can talk, in the Hebrew and Christian Scriptures contains it. The King James Version translated as spirit, as if spirit is somehow separate from body, that dualism. And that's because it was translating from the Latin spiritus. And yet we read also about the Spirit of God hovering over the face of the waters. In the NRSV, it's translated as the wind of God. And Hebert asks, what if we translated it as air as breath, the breath of God hovering? What if we then understood in this one chapter later in Genesis 2:7 that the term is part of the phrase breath of life? God breathed into Adam's nostrils the breath of life, and the man became a living being. This phrase, breath of life, is found in many places, perhaps notably in the Noah account, as descriptive of all the animals on the ark. Or in Psalm 33:6, by the word of the Lord the skies were made, and by the breath of God's mouth all of their creatures. This implies that the ruach, the breath of God, is what animates all of us. All of us are creatures animated by God's breath.